Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Zero from TechDragon.info, and today we're gonna take a look at the Chi, the Tier 5 Japanese premium medium tank. I have done a review of this tank in the past. I just want to show you a sort of updated review. Back then this thing was actually brown. This tank was out before the Japanese tree, so it's been in the game for quite a while, and you don't see a lot of these in the wild. And it's kind of for good reason. Now, I'm not saying that this tank is bad per se, it's just, it falls shy of being fun. Now, don't start screaming, let me explain. Alright, we'll just take a look at let's take a look at the stats first. Let's turn around so you can actually somewhat read them. There we go. 480 hit points is pretty average. Engine power, this thing struggles. On a flat, it's okay, but once you get up into a bit of a hilly terrain or the actual getting off the start line, you know, the moving, the acceleration part is pretty poor with that engine, because this thing does weigh almost 22 tons. So that is a bit of a drawback. Top speed 38, you usually don't cruise at 38, more like 30, 32-ish. So, more of a theoretical. Traverse speed of 38 is pretty good, not too bad. Hull armor of 50, I'm not sure where. I seriously don't know where this thing is 50 because I call bullshit. Turret armor of 75, again, bullshit. On the front, don't expect to ever bounce on this thing. It is that kind of tank. Don't get hit. Like, literally, don't ever get hit. The side and rear, pretty much garbage. These armor values on paper are actually better than it is in, in actual games. It doesn't hold up against anything. It really doesn't. Alright, we'll get back to that. A second turret versus 30 is okay. View range 350 is okay. Signal range of 400. Bit on the low side, but it's only a tier 5, so what do you expect? Let's take a look at the gun here. 75mm gun, rate of fire of 12. Penetration is not bad, not fantastic, but definitely not bad for a tier 5. Compared to some normal tier 5s, it's actually pretty good, so can't complain about that. Damage also pretty okay. Accuracy is pretty bad. Aim time on paper is supposedly 2.3 seconds. Well, you can see what kind of crew I have in here. It's a full 100% crew, and this does not feel like 2.3 seconds. It really doesn't. It feels like a 2.5 second gun. So this gun, you will sit there and have to aim for a very long time for mediocre accuracy at best, so you still miss a lot of shots on a tank that does not have a lot of depression and is not very quick and has no armor. Do you see what I'm getting at? It's not a bad tank per se, it just doesn't have any great qualities. It's not horrifically bad at anything either, but it falls just shy of greatness because it doesn't have that one unique feature. Like, I don't know, let's grab some medium tanks here. Well, here, I know it's not the same, but just comparing it, has good frontal armor. Gun is mediocre, but its frontal armor is good. Same for this thing. Gun is pretty shit, but the armor on this thing actually holds up surprisingly well. CDC is fast as hell and has a good gun. Cromwell, it's fast, has a pretty good gun. Super Pershing has a spaced armor. T20 has that gun, even though I really hate that gun, but it does have the gun. This thing is an autoloader. The Firefly has that gun, which is pretty good for a tier 6. You see, same goes for the VK3002M. Renault, it actually gets a fairly comparable gun, but it gets a better aim time. And, well, actually, let's just compare these, because that is actually not too bad of a comparison, even though it's not a premium, obviously. But it's both 75mm guns, so rate of fire on the French is way better, penetration is quite a bit less, damage is less, accuracy is worse, aim time is quite a bit better. So, just to give you an idea of where this gun is at. And I'm going to show you a game, and it will show you why I think that this tank is not fantastic. So let's dive into some gameplay. And here we are with some gameplay. Now, what you need to know is that I actually recorded this as a live record. I'm now looking at a replay, but I recorded this as a live record to show as a game today. But I decided after seeing this game, after playing it, to actually record it as a review of this tank, because I did a review, but it was a long time ago, and a lot of things changed. Even the entire color of the tank changed by now, so I decided to just make it into a review, because it's, you know, a nice tanker is always good for a review, to give you an idea of what a tank is capable of, and how it functions. Now in a second here, we're gonna see a grand douchebag on our team. No idea why. I'm pretty sure I didn't provoke anything, but for some unknown reason, he just decides to shoot my track. Right about now, I think. There we go. Matilda, just shoot my track. So, and I'm just sitting here thinking, well, okay, thanks, jackass. And I have no idea why. I have no idea. So, as you can see here, this thing cruises at around 32. Sometimes gets up to 35. It does depend on the terrain as well. I'm kind of afraid that I'm just gonna get shot in the ass. One thing you do need to know about this tank though is that its crew members seem to die off a lot. Like, pretty much every single time you get shot in this thing, a crew member will die. It's one of those kind of tanks. There's no artillery, so I can be fairly safe sitting up here, looking if I have a line on the arrow. I don't seem to. PZ pulling out here, put one into his track. And I'm trying to sneak one right into his lower plate there. We don't have much on him. At this point I decide, well, I don't have anything on him, so might as well just track him and get the spot or the tracking damage. We track him too. We go into his track wheel, don't track him sadly. And here you can pretty much see the depression. As we'll come over this hill here in a second, you'll see what the full depression is capable of. It's not a lot, which makes this thing hard to handle. It's actually... Here, take a look. This is pretty much its full depression. So it really isn't a whole lot. It's only a couple of degrees. I would say about 4 degrees or something. Which means in order to shoot him, I have to pretty much be on the top of the hill here. It really struggles in depression, as you can see. So that is one huge drawback. So, put a shot into him. Can we finish him off? Come on, reload. Come on. Frontal. Oh, we bounce off. Darn it. Can we make a trick shot? Can we do it? Oh, look at that shot. What a sniper shot. And like I said, I meant to record this as a live record. I was just having fun at this point. I was just trying to be entertaining and not really play this seriously. And just mucking around, as you'll see in a second. I was definitely not in tryhard mode. So, yeah, put a shot into the Stug. He falls back. I didn't actually notice the Jag PZ on my left there. I do right now. I was like, oh crap. Oh, okay, I'm in cover. Whew. Now I'm kind of afraid that I got spotted here and that the Stug is just gonna shoot me in the face. But nope, we get his ass, and here we struggle again with the depression. Go into his track wheel. I'm thinking about going around him. Doesn't seem like he's actually fixing his track, so well, we just finish him off. Bathtub in the distance. Pfft, putting a shot in on the move. Okay then. And wait, do we... Oh, we have a shot. Oh, come on. And like I said, I was just messing around here. Oh, we do put a show into him. Come on, one more to finish him off. Oh, shot goes high. We have so little on him. Come on. Come on. Oh. Ah, darn it. Oh, yeah, definitely not in tryhard mode. I just wasted a lot of time there. I could have done a lot more. I could have gone around and probably still, you know, got a couple of shots in him, but I was just mucking around. I'm allowed to do that, right? KV-85, don't seem to have a line on him. Cromwell, don't have a line. Nasworn gets finished off just before we get around the corner there. Sadly, we don't get a line. Oh, we had a line on the KV-85. Oh, we have nothing. All we had was like the top of his turret. Cromwell is fighting the Hellcat, but they're on the other side of the hill. Hellcat getting ripped apart. I'm guessing T-34 put a Type T-34 put a shot into him. Hellcat dies. I'm desperately trying to get to this KV-85, not M6, KV-85. Trying to put some shells into him before we go out and before we win the game. There's only 2 of them left. Come on, come on, there he is. And again we struggle with depression. And that is kind of the story with this thing. And you're gonna see here that trying to circle this thing. This tank doesn't turn around very quickly either. And at this point, I'm just thinking, well, I guess shot. Ow, that hurt. I think he switched to HE. Not sure. He did a lot of damage. Anyways, that was the last kill in the game. Let's take a look at the stats. Well, yeah, I did not take this game very serious at all. I was just messing around, if anything. And this was actually supposed to be a live record game, but I now decided to make this into a review because it was an ace tanker, so might as well, right? And this thing was kind of due for a update. The review I did was a long time ago. It wasn't a test server. You know, the Japanese are now actually in the game. They weren't back then, so that was more of a preview than a review, and this was the actual review. So, yeah, we got spawning damage on him for a decent amount, actually. Not a whole lot on the M6, and we got a pretty good amount on him. Most of his health, if not all of it. Actually, that might be all of it. I think we spotted him and we tracked him. No, we didn't get any spawning damage, but we definitely got all the tracking damage. Yeah, he shouldn't have stuck around. I still don't believe that shot went in. That was a bullshit shot if I ever saw one. Same goes for that M6 though. That was quite the sniper shot. This just trick shots, I guess. 991 experience, 1200 and almost 1280 damage done, 3 kills. That's enough for the ace tanker on this tank. And that kind of shows you that this tank is just not played all that much and not played all that well. If that is enough for an ace tanker already, then, you know, people are just not playing it and not playing it well, so it's easy to get an ace on it. I fired 19 shots, hit 15, penned 11, 1200 damage done, not a lot from range, took 1 hit to the face, actually did quite a bit of damage, but I was full health, so eh. And I really was just careless because I just didn't care at that point. Spotted 1, damaged 7 people still, killed 3, walked away with 787 spawning damage, 31k profit. We did get 100 because of that ally that shot us at the beginning. Not a clue why he did that, just none. Just being a douchebag, I guess. And walked away with a grand total of 2378 experience. This thing makes pretty decent experience. Well over, I would say about 40%. I was just doing math. I'm bad at math. About 40% of your base amount. So that's not bad. But overall, this thing is just lacking. It misses something, you know. It misses that one feature that makes it fun or functional. Or, I'm not saying it's not functional. I actually just saw in that kind of role, just supporting in a team that already does well, this thing can have a good supporting role, but that's it. This thing only works in a supporting role. You don't have armor to hold anybody off. You don't have the rate of fire or depression or penetration or any of those to keep people at bay or keep them, you know, being afraid of you. People just charge in, shoot you in the face, and kill you. If you can put 1 shot into them, they will put 1 or 2 into you because they will pen every single time and you might not. But then again, the penetration for its tier is not bad. So, should you get this thing? Only if you're really gonna go down the Japanese tree and you don't want to spend the money on the STA1. Other than that, I really would say don't really waste your money. Yeah. Unless you really enjoy a mediocre tank that just, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right for me. It really, I got it through an event. I never bought it, don't get me wrong. I personally would not spend the money on it. You might feel different, you might enjoy this tank, which is very much possible, but I feel like it's not capable of carrying enough games. So you're going to be in situations where you need to act, you need to do something, and this tank just can't do it. You know, it will just fail at it because it doesn't have any of those features or qualities. And you'll be left with a tank wreck that just couldn't hold its own flank, and it died. And you know, a 1-on-2 situation, I would not want to be in this tank. Same goes for the Chiri, by the way. Chiri, actually, this tank is very similar to the Chiri, now that I think about it. Not just in looks. Chiri as well. If the Chiri is on its own against multiple opponents, or up close, you know, without any cover, the Chiri is helpless, and people will just annihilate it. And just absolutely wreck it. Because your gun is mediocre at best, and if you don't pen, then you're not going to do damage, and they can do a lot more damage to you than you can do to them. So these are actually very similar. They both need a functional team that you can support. And I guess that's true for most of the Japanese. Until tier 8s, they're very team dependent and relying on. So, yeah, it's a very supporting tank. I guess that's the best way of putting it. Anyways, ranted on more than enough, long enough. There we go. I can speak English, really, I swear. So that is the Chi Kai in a nutshell. That's a little bit longer than just a nutshell. Hopefully you have a better idea of what this tank is capable of and if you should get it or not. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, please subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.